Hi, and thanks for joining me. If you saw my last video, I had self-diagnosed with Asperger's. And over the past few days of thinking and researching, I not only accept that as a very valid diagnosis, I'm surprised to find myself a more severe case than I at first even imagined. Because of things I've learned in regards to stimming and meltdowns, some of my characteristics are almost a childish level, and it's quite frightening. But during the last week, I shouldn't say week, it's been a few days, I've been really digging into what it means to be an Aspie. Okay, I'm diagnosing myself as an Aspie, I accept that diagnosis, and I'm very confident in it now. But what does it mean? How does that apply to the way I live my life? Is it as simple as, okay, I'm an Aspie, now we're all better? And it really honestly isn't. It's information, but information is of no value if it's not acted upon. I had this great analogy, which I apply personally to Christianity and faith, because a lot of people are very vocal about what they believe. And this analogy I have is two astronomers in their backyard looking up into the night sky and seeing a bright rock coming towards them. And the one says, I believe that rock's going to hit us. And the other one's, no, you're an idiot. It's going to miss us by miles. It's going to miss the Earth by 1,000,000 miles. And they start to arguing about what they truly believe. One is adamant, he's passionate that this rock is going to hit us. And the other believes very strongly that it's going to miss by a country mile. And then the rock strikes and kills them both. Well, what good were your beliefs when you didn't act on them? You're still dead. You're just as dead as the person who didn't believe. And that's where people today are so engrossed in their beliefs, but it doesn't impact their lives. They don't actually do anything different with their lives. So you have to ask how valid those beliefs are. And I apply that to Aspies. Okay, I'm confident in that diagnosis. I believe I am an Aspie. But if that's it, if I'm just content to say I'm an Aspie, then what value is it? So it's kind of like I've discovered a toolbox. And yep, that's a toolbox, and then I walk away and never actually use it. Well, how stupid was that? So I'm trying to pull apart some of the things that I can use in this diagnosis, how I can make it beneficial to me. Let me share something. I learned this week, and I think it's a great thing that will help you too. The man who first diagnosed Asperger's, that was his last name, in 1944, this Professor Asperger was studying 4 young boys, and he saw that they were very different from the other children. They didn't interact socially very well at all. They were engrossed in their special little interest that they were researching and spent a lot of time at. He kind of watched them and studied their differences from those around them. Could see that they were quite different. And he called them his little professors. And I just love that, because that's definitely a strong characteristic with me, with my daughter, and I think with most Aspies, is this real desire to dig into certain special interests. And if we apply that to Asperger's, we of all people should be able to make some very significant strides in not only accepting who we are, but benefiting from it. I don't see it as a disability. I see it as a difference. And if we learn to play to our strengths and forgive our differences, I've punished myself a lot throughout my life for my weaknesses, my shortcomings, my differences, and now I'm going, hey, I don't have to. I can't go into a social situation without feeling terrified and ready to run. I have panic attacks. I can't, and sometimes when I say a 10-word sentence is in here sitting perfectly, but when it comes out of here, something else came out that I never even thought of, and I don't know where it came from, and everyone's looking at me wondering what happened. I can forgive myself for who I am. I don't have to feel like an absolute moron. I can understand and appreciate that, yeah, I'm not going to be able to go into that social situation like the neurotypicals. You know, they may look 6 foot tall and 250 pounds in those social environments. They're confident, they're comfortable. God bless them, that's their strength, and why should I want to diminish that or take it away from them? But why would I want to think that I should be able to do the same thing when I clearly can't? So it's not only a matter of playing to our strengths, it's a matter of forgiving our failures. And I don't even see it as a failure. I see it as, if I am this person and I'm trying to be that person, there's bound to be failures. I've got to be me. And if my limitations mean that I can't interact properly or the same in that situation, then I don't need to feel guilty about it. I don't need to condemn myself over it. You see what I'm saying? Where we need to open up what the differences are and play to our strengths and forgive our weaknesses. Now, it's going to take learning and practice, and I think a great illustration that will show you what I'm talking about is this cityscape is the way the world sees. It's the way we walk through the world seeing it. And now, accepting an Aspie diagnosis, we need to re-see the world in a new way. We need to look at things through a new set of lenses. And I even thought I might try this like once a week, get a pair of glasses with different color lenses and just take a stroll and look at the world around me all tinted a different color to train myself that, man, the world is a different place. Post-diagnosis, if you want to use that term, it's a different place now, and I need to learn this new place. And that's kind of what I was trying to capture in this illustration, is put on the glasses and see the world in a new way now. And maybe in a less threatening way, because we can accept and be comfortable with our shortcomings or our differences that may inhibit us from behaving like a neurotypical. The other thing I thought was, how truly different is an Aspie from the people around them? Okay, I'm an Aspie. How truly different am I from everyone else around me? Am I radically different or just a little different? And of course, I have another great illustration. I live in Canada. It's a very ethnically diverse people. There really is no such thing as skin color here in Canada, because everybody's one shade or another and nobody cares. A lot of the ethnicities who've moved to Canada have integrated into the Canadian culture because it's not a very, I don't know where that was going. So I said, what if we took an ethnically diverse panel of Canadians and put them into a room, and we throw one Aspie in there, the token Aspie. In a horror movie, he's the one that gets killed first. And yeah, bad humor is a trait too, isn't it? Then you can make the difference in these people's ethnicities go away merely by shutting off the lights. Sitting there in the dark, they can begin to communicate seamlessly and work together, and it's really based on whether or not they want to enjoy each other's company, or maybe they want to talk politics or something, get a heated debate going. But they will be able to sit there and assimilate, and there won't be any racial barrier stopping that. But the Aspie will be sitting there in the dark, exactly the same, unchanged, unbenefited, thoughts flitting like butterflies about, oh, I could say this or that, and knowing full well that they won't say any of those things for fear that, you know, as they begin to speak, the wrong words will come out and the room will go quiet as everyone tries to understand what on earth that was. The lights didn't benefit the Aspie. The Aspie is still completely different from everyone in the room. Everyone else in the room is like a Lego brick that clicks together if they want to. Yeah, you always have a choice or an opinion, but if they want to work seamlessly, they can. They can all click together nicely. The Aspie has deformed or misshapen or a little bit different little nubs on the top. It doesn't click together the way the rest do. It's a difference. It can be interpreted as a disadvantage, but it doesn't have to be. It can just be accepted as a difference. It's not from the same package, so why try and force it? Why get the file out and the sandpaper and shave the nubs off so it can just at least press in close and pretend? I really don't see Asperger's as something that needs to be, you know, cured. I honestly don't believe it can be cured. How do you change the internal wiring? I mean, I'm thinking lobotomy and brainwashing would be the only avenue if you were out to cure Asperger's. But the illustration was to make the point that Asperger's is more of a difference than racial difference. It's not just that Aspies are from another country, they're literally from another planet. A parallel dimension, a very Earth-like system. They look like us, and they're a lot like us in many ways, but they're not us. I think that's kind of where I'm at with understanding who an Aspie is compared to the people around him. So I'm not just a little different. I'm radically different from the people around me. And right away for me, that means that I have some strengths that I can play to, some advantages. But it also means that I have differences, behaviors that I used to punish myself for and hate myself for, that I can now accept and forgive myself for and not be hard on myself about it. If I'm making a point and I say something and some strange words come out that I hadn't even intended to say, I would go away feeling like an absolute retard and just angry with myself and embarrassed, and I don't need to feel that way anymore. You know, if that's the way my brain is wired and it's going to do that, well, whatever. It'll happen again. There's no need to get too wound up about it. Stimming is something, well, I'll do another video on stimming and meltdowns and stuff, but those behaviors I can now accept and not feel like a total Frankenstein. Yeah, so it's a journey. It's a development process. If you're a younger person going through this, you're so blessed. If you're like me, if you're advanced in your years and you're starting to look at this, I think we'll have to apply ourselves a little more. Learning to rethink the world, re-see the world is going to take a little more work. But if you make it your special interest for a while, really wrap your brain around it, I don't think it's impossible at all. I'm actually looking forward to relearning the world post-diagnosis. I hope in all of this rambling I've made my point that being diagnosed Aspie is the beginning of a journey, and the journey needs to be made sitting at the starting line, content to talk about the cliches and brag that you're different. I think that's really a waste, and really you stand to you stand to gain so much benefit by making the journey. To sit there at the start line would really be stupid. So I'm going to leave it there. I could ramble pointlessly for another 10 minutes, but I don't think anyone needs that. I think in the next video I'm going to talk a bit about stimming and meltdowns. No, meltdowns, I think, because that's a key factor in my life. That's something I really struggle with. And I want to begin to make headway on how to perceive meltdowns, how to get in front of them, see them coming, how to increase my reserve, some call it spoons, increase my number of spoons so that I can withstand more stress. Any stress takes handfuls of spoons away from me, and usually part way through the day I'm out of spoons and having meltdowns on an ongoing basis. So I'll begin to talk about that in the next video. And yeah, take care.